just usually do this. I just wave it around.
I'm really surprised it's loading like that every time and flickering off.
No.
Really surprised.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Like, things are going on, but not actually.
This is something I definitely didn't expect.
Maybe just give it a good old... Oh, a good blow.
I mean, it's definitely reading the cartridge fine. This should not happen.
Oh, we just had a donation come in.
Oh.
For $25.
Let's take a look. Who was it? I think I might know who. But
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
sweet. Hurrah. Alright, so
Who do we have that tonight?
give me one.
Hey.
Oh, can you pass me that pen?
So we got a donation from NESCardGG for, actually it didn't say how much money, but thank you NESCardGG for donating money.
I think it's 25 bucks or 15 earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for the donation. Every little bit helps.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, NESCAR.
Didn't the owner watch this or whatever?
Yeah, I think so.
So NESCAR is my affiliate abbreviation on Twitch, and my main emote is NESCardGG, so if somebody named themselves that, I didn't actually know about that.
You got a follower out here. Help.
Soccer.
Well, I think when you donate, you can do it under any name.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Alright, so whenever you're ready, let's start.
There.
Alright, this is gonna get a little complex, but I'll try to explain everything that's going on. First of all, I have to name myself exclamation point. We're gonna be exploiting the RNG, and this is done by a lot of advanced preparation and analysis and brute force. Basically, what we're going to be doing is starting the game on a known RNG value and try and proceed from there and keep all our inputs accurate and keep the RNG flowing in a predictable manner.
So it's like the Chrono Trigger one. You have to wait for the clock handle to go back.
Something very similar to that, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so I'll give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yay. Hurrah.
Evolution by words.
Things start out easily, innocently enough. We're going to pick up the treasure as normal. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back into the throne room, we're going to save and reset. Every time you reset, the game calculates an RNG checksum, which is basically your initial RNG value or seed. The calculation is based on your level, your experience, your gold, your items. So if you just have random stuff, it's unpredictable. But of course, doing this opening, picking up the same treasure, we're always going to have the same items and everything. So we know what our checksum is going to be, or rather that it's always going to be the same. So we're going to save and reset, and we're going to start on a known value. So it makes the calculation here, and as long as we hold the A button, it's going to stay the same. But we do need to clear the text box here on a very specific frame. I didn't get it there. I can tell I didn't get it because of the way the guard moves. The guard's movement is governed by the same RNG that governs everything else. So I think we got it there if he moves down, so we should be good. We can verify here, down, up, left, right, left, right. Oh, whoops. I walked too far down. We got to try it again. But that's how we can tell that we got what we needed. Okay, that's good. So same thing's gonna happen here, down, up, left, right, or right, right. So we know we're on the correct RNG checksum. And now all we have to do is keep our inputs consistent everywhere we go. Now what you're gonna see up here is I'm gonna stop on the first tree. And the reason I do this is because if I had kept walking, the second forest tile would have given me an encounter. And I know this from advanced analysis. So when you stop on a square, oh whoops, that was too early to stop, sorry about that. We gotta start the section over. When you stop on a square, the RNG cycles forward 16 values.
Oh.
And that allows you to essentially skip over encounters. So we can continue this process to get anywhere on the map we want. That looks good. And again, left, right, right, right. So we know we're on the correct frame. And we'll start the process again. So the first thing we're going to want to do is defeat 4 metal slimes, which will get us to level 7, which is actually the minimum level required to beat this game. Without RNG manipulation, it's basically not possible to win before level 18, so needless to say, this is a large improvement. We're going to stop on the bridge here. I generally don't look at my notes here because I've made many different routes for this game, but the opening section has remained the same because, well, mainly because the first Metal Slime is just so good. It's a really nice quick kill. So again, we're going to stop here and here, and as the terrain ramps up, there are going to be more battles to avoid. We're going to stop here for 2 beats, and here for 3 beats. And whenever you stop on a square, the game locks you on that square for 16 frames, and that's one of the reasons we're able to do this. Now, we have to take an extended stop here. This is to set up our Metal Slime battle as we enter the Metal Slime zone. You only have a 20% chance of encountering any given enemy in a zone. And here we're command buffering so that when we attack, we get an excellent move and finish the Metal Slime off in 1 hit. Now I have to do stuff that's a little bit more complex. When you clear a text box, if you clear it on an odd frame, you're going to get 1 path of RNG. If you clear it on an even frame, you're going to get another path of RNG. So what I had to do to make this game marathon safe is encounter 2 different interim enemies, one on either side of the path. So we're going to get either a Knight or a Magiwyvern, and the key is that I get to act first against both of them so that they don't kill me in 1 hit. So we got the Knight. So we have to manipulate our way into a clean run. Our level is really low. And now I have to wait. Again, we're waiting to set up our second Metal Slime encounter. And there he is. So he's going to cast Hurt to do 3 damage. And we're going to do another little manipulation here to ensure that we get an excellent move. We're already up to level 6 in the first 5 minutes. We're going to get either a Wraith Knight or a Knight here. And if I did that right, we'll get our 3rd Metal Slime.
Do you
And-
make computers for a living?
No. There's our 3rd excellent move. And for the 4th one to get us to level 7, we have to wait a little bit longer. Just sometimes the RNG early on doesn't help you. So you have to wait and check more possibilities. And I'm using audio cues to determine exactly when to clear the text box. Here, once again, we're going to get either a Wraith Knight or a Knight. Against the Wraith Knight, we'll get the first action. The Knight will cast Stop Spell and it will work, but that doesn't matter because it doesn't hurt us. So here is our 4th Metal Slime. And our final manipulation to get that final excellent move. And what am I doing after? Oh yeah. So again, a manipulation into an enemy that will defeat us as quickly as possible. So a nice quick Wraith Knight, he attacks us once. We Death Warp after we have achieved what we want from this section. And all that kind of messes up the RNG, so what we're going to do at this point is save and reset again so that we can start at a consistent point once again. So the RNG checksum's totally different. I have to look at a totally different path. And I got the frame I needed there, so we're good to go already. These girls are going to move up right, and down up. So we know we're good. Next thing we're going to do is fight a gold man to get enough money to buy 5 keys. You need 3 keys to beat the game. The other 2 are going to allow us to get the wings from Remolder, and that's going to save us an 80-second walk home at the end of the game. And make sure I do this right here. So we're stopping here, and here. And we have to take a longer stop here because there's a long hallway in the cave that I have to walk through. And I need silence because when we're in the dark, I need to use audio cues only to figure out where I am exactly. And we're in the clear. And again, we're still on a straight manipulation path. If I do anything wrong, if I stop on the wrong square, if I stop for too long, if anything like that happens, the entire section is ruined and we have to start from the beginning of this. Oops! So there I took an extra step accidentally, so we have to restart the section. Happens every once in a while. And again, I got the correct frame. So again, we'll see the NPCs go up right, down right, and down up. We'll perform the exact same manipulation here. You'll see the same stops. And again, every time I stop, it's because if I had walked to the next square, we would have gotten an unwanted enemy encounter. We could encounter them and run away, but of course it's faster to just avoid them, and speed is what this is all about. So same stops here, the same last pause before we enter the swamp. And a nice long walk down this hallway. No problems there. And we're basically walking down to a zone that has a gold man. It's only 3 squares. This time we're gonna stop right here, and now we're fine. So we walk back and forth in 2 of the 3 squares. Now again, this guy is really strong for where we are, so we have to put him to sleep. We do a manipulation to make sure that sleep works. And now we're doing hurt manipulations to make sure that our hurt spell does as much damage as we want it to, and also that the gold man stays asleep throughout this. And finally, on the last manipulation, what frame you defeat him on determines how much gold he gives you, and we need his upper range of gold. So here, we get the 196 gold we need. We're gonna get an encounter here, we're just gonna run away. And we're home free into Remulder. So we got all the gold we need, and now that we're inside, we're safe. We can buy our keys, we can get the wings. We're gonna exit and re-enter the town after we buy the keys, just for speed's sake. And that one step we take outside of town is dangerous, but there's only a 1 in 32 chance that we'll get an enemy encounter, so we should be fine. We're off manipulation here. Again, basically every time you have to fight a battle or clear a text box, once that's over, your manipulation is essentially going to be ended, unless you do a lot of very complex analysis. So we're going to use 2 of our 5 keys to get wings here. And now we don't have to walk home at the end of the game, we can transport ourselves back to the starting castle. Oh. And we do the same thing here, we take a death warp back to the castle, we save and reset, and start a new manipulation path.
This is dope.
Alright, next goal is to get Erdrick's armor and Erdrick's token. And again, I cleared the text box on the correct frame. You're gonna see these ladies go right, right, up, right, and left, left. So we know we're on the correct frame, and we can start our manipulation. I'm making the text box clears look really easy, I'm nailing them all, but it really is like one frame, like a 60th of a second that you have to aim for. And obviously I've had a lot of practice doing this, so I'm pretty used to the audio cue that I use to set it up. This RNG path was particularly nice. We have a nice long walk here with absolutely no stops, which is just nice aesthetically. Every time you stop, it's about a quarter of a second. We're going to stop here. And there's one here. And just one more before we reach town on this square. Now we walk inside en route to the Axonite guarding Erdrick's armor, and of course he's way too strong for us to fight, so same thing as the Goldman, we have to keep him asleep. Oops. And here I found a nice early excellent move, so that does a little extra damage, which is nice. Use the hurt spell. After I defeat this guy, I'm gonna go straight to Erdrick's token. And again, this is really hard to accomplish after a battle. So I'm going to do a little bit of setup in between. And all of it has to be done with split-second reactions based on what I see after this battle's over. So we'll see how it goes. So we have to clear the text boxes as quickly as possible. And I got the green dragon. And it looks like I did all that right. Next stop is on the bridge. And then we stop here and here. 2 more stops before Erdrick's token, which is lying in a swamp. So we stop here. And here. And here's our token. And again, I set up a little suicide death warp here. We're either going to get a werewolf or a knight, and I do a manipulation to make sure that the knight will not cast stop spell on us. He defeats us in 2 attacks. So I want to explain what happened there after I beat the Axe Knight. We picked up Erdrick's armor, but we had to clear a number of text boxes to do it. So there was no way to determine what frame of RNG I was on. So in order to figure that out, I paced back and forth afterwards until I encountered an enemy. It was either going to be a wizard or a green dragon, and I had manipulations set up for both. So I got the green dragon, and I ran from him on a specific frame and started a new path from there. Those manipulations are tougher to set up, especially since you can be on an odd square or an even square. Once again, parity comes into play. This next section is unmanipulated, which is why I didn't reset, but we did do a safety save just in case something goes wrong in Garen's grave. We're gonna pick up the Stones of Sunlight down here and then walk to the grave and pick up the Silver Harp. And we saved so that if anything kills us in Garen's grave, it doesn't happen very often, it's actually kind of rare, but if it does, we can just reset the section and not have to do the previous section all over again. So we will potentially get random encounters in this section. Nothing to worry about. All we have to worry about is the bottom 2 floors of Garen's grave, really. So we're taking the shortest route to Gorinham. Already red slimes are running away from us. Drakies are running away. It's better if they run away. That takes a little less time than me running from them. We used our 3rd key to get the Stones of Sunlight. The other 2 keys we're going to use now. One to get in here and the other to move further into the cave, which is back here. It's a relatively short cave, so there isn't too much danger to worry about. The enemies on the top 2 floors can do a fair bit of damage to us, but they're also easy to run from. It's really the bottom 2 floors we have to worry about. Gonna use our last key right here. Oh, status. That is not how we descend stairs. Dragon Warrior, by the way, is one of the only RPGs where you have to use the stairs command to use stairs. They abolished that in Dragon Warrior 2 and never looked back. But fortunately, when we open a menu and we move to the stairs command, we can buffer that command so that we stay on a predictable path of RNG, so it's not a problem for us. We are on to the bottom 2 floors, so things get dangerous. It's a short walk. But if we encounter a Wraith Knight, it could be dangerous. Spectre is the safest enemy. We just hope they don't put us to sleep, because that would cost us extra time. Oop. Everybody loves how the music descends in pitch as you go lower in a cave. It's a really neat effect. So here is our Silver Harp. We made it safely. And same as always, we're going to do a quick death warp to get back to the king as quickly as possible. Droll Magi is in favorability in terms of a quick death warp. It's sort of medium because it can cast Stop Spell 50% of the time, which does no damage to you, so it's just a waste of time. Fortunately, he's already attacked us twice, and we're already in range where he could defeat us in one hit, although we survived there, so we need to take one more hit from him. And there's another Stop Spell. There we go. So we're all set for the last section of the game. This section is the longest, it's the most dangerous, and I'm also going to be spending the most time in the dark. So as soon as I get into the dark, I'm going to need silence, and I'm going to be talking less. I'm going to turn the volume on my little TV here up so that I can hear my bonks, and we can all enjoy the symphony of the bonks as I proceed. And again, I got the correct frame for that clear. We're going to see the ladies go up, up, down, right, down, right. And I'm going to rearrange my notes a little bit here. I'm going to pause on the castle. Everything will be fine for another couple minutes. It's not until we get to Sharlock that we have to worry about audio cues. For now, I just have to either watch my notes intently or remember where everything is. There are not too many stops before Phase 1. There are essentially 5 phases to this section, and I separate the phases by whenever we have to clear a text box and we need to set up a new manipulation. It's a fairly complex process. So we're going to stop here. That's the last stop before the end of Phase 1. We're going to have to clear 2 text boxes in order to pick up the Staff of Rain, so after that we set up a new manipulation outside. This is what it's going to look like. That text box clear was a little slow. Hopefully it wasn't too slow. We'll find out when we get outside. No, we're fine. We're going to get a Scorpion, I can already tell. And we do a little manipulation here, and we're back on track. So Phase 2 begins. We're on our way to get the Rainbow Drop, which allows us to enter Sharlock. We stop here. And here. And keep in mind, if I make a mistake anywhere in this section, we have to start the entire thing over again. Again, typically there is a long pause before entering this cave because it's a long hallway and we need no encounters throughout the hallway. Take a stop here. A few stops along the way, not much to worry about here. They're kind of spaced out, so there's plenty of time for me to glance at my notes and figure out where the next one is. Of course, I've played this so many times, I have all these stops memorized. 3 more stops before the staircase. And after we get the Rainbow Drop, we're going to encounter a Wolf Lord outside, and what he does determines what we do next. That was a great text box clears. We're definitely on track. Is he going to attack? He's going to attack. Oh! I took an extra step. It's, the hills slow you down, so they kind of mess with your movement, and I just sort of misjudged that one. Again, I got the text box clear. And we'll start exactly what we just did from the beginning. Again, this section worked out really nicely in that there are not many stops on the way to the Staff of Rain at all, only 2 more. Nice and spaced out. I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera, but this is a very unique setup for me. I'm sitting on a couch that's very close to the ground, watching a very small TV that's like right in front of me. It's like a meter away.
It's, yeah, a lot of the runners have said that today. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the TV's great. I would never blame the setup as an excuse. I'm just letting you guys know it's a unique set of conditions. So this time I got the Magidrake, so the manipulation is a little different. And now we're back on track. So again, phase 2. Get the rainbow drop. Our typical long pause before we enter the cave. And now we listen to bonks in the lower half to get us through. And of course I have to time that input on the staircase. I could bonk into the wall. There's a thing with staircases where if you bonk into a wall while you're on top of a staircase, you cannot reliably do a manipulation down the stairs. So in Sharlock, when we reach those staircases, we will bonk into the wall and then we'll take one step. Oh, sorry. I'm talking too much during those sections. I shouldn't try to explain too much. I should just finish this. Alright, take 3. I'm going to be running this game at AGDQ, and there's always the temptation to do deep explanation throughout the run at AGDQ, so I'm really preparing myself for that. It wasn't a problem during my submission video or anything like that, so I'm not worried at all, and of course I'm going to be practicing this game like crazy in November and December. It'll be totally ready.
Sweet. So we're definitely getting kind of like a sneak preview.
Yep. Okay, that was perfect. Shouldn't be any problem out here. Unless I hit status on the menu. So I hit the arrow too early there. I'm getting the text box clear every time, so that's pretty sweet. That's one good thing to remind myself of, though, to not rush the input as the arrow gradually moves towards the stairs command. Especially in Sharlock, because when I'm going to pick up Erdrick's sword, I have to encounter an enemy after that, and the walking out process after that encounter is very quick in a very small room. So it's very quick inputs followed by, again, I have to take a staircase, so very, very slow movement towards the stairs. Have to make sure I don't rush that one. There we go. And again, either a Scorpion or a Magidrake. We got the Magidrake. And we're on track. So I suppose I've done enough rambling. I'll just focus on the rest of the run and make sure everything's correct. Again, this is a fairly long manipulation chain, so you gotta be pretty focused on everything that's going on, because if you make one little mistake anywhere, it's all over. Alright, picking up the rainbow drop again. We're gonna get the other Wolf Lord. He's gonna cast Stop Spell. Little manipulation here. And we're on to phase 3. This section I'm also really familiar with. I really don't look at my notes. Once we get into Sharlock, I look very closely at how many bonks to make on each wall. The bonks they work exactly the same as stopping on a square. It's just they're a clear indication in the dark. Here we use the rainbow drop, and thankfully the game asks us for a prompt to clear that text box, so we don't have to set up another manipulation. One more stop before the castle. And we're in. Now, after I reveal the staircase behind this throne, I'm going to have to clear another text box, and that means we're going to have to encounter another enemy. And here we go into the dark. There you see we go back and forth. Good. Alright, we're out of the darkness. Into the clear, we can see what we're doing now. Now the reason we pick up Erdrick's sword, we don't actually need Erdrick's sword, but it greatly speeds up the battle against the first form of the Dragon Lord. And by greatly, I mean if we didn't have Erdrick's sword, it would take about a half an hour. to chip away at him 1 damage at a time. Alright, we did everything right en route to the fight, now we just have to finish him off. And it's the same idea. Every fight, every action we perform, we have to do a manipulation to ensure a couple of things. The first thing is that we do as much damage as possible for speed's sake. And we also need to ensure that he casts Stop Spell every turn, so that he doesn't do any damage to us. And again, we are still in the middle of a very long chain of manipulations. If we make one mistake, it's all over. There's no way to beat the Dragon Lord. So we have to be careful. And that's the first form. Now again, we have to put the second form to sleep so he doesn't kill us in 1 hit. And now we have to make sure he stays asleep. Hurt only has, hang on. Hurt only has a 1 in 16 chance of working whenever you cast it. So it takes a while to find hits that actually do some damage against him. Like, I would estimate mapping out a Dragon Lord fight takes at least an hour and a half if you know what you're doing. If you're not used to it, it could probably take a lot longer than that. You have to test every iteration. And again, here I have to be very careful not to rush any inputs. I never take too long on anything, I just have to make sure I don't rush. So far, so good. Four more hits to go. The Dragon Lord has 130 hit points, and Hurt can do no more than 12. So we pretty much have to ensure that we're always doing as much damage as possible. Like, we can't accept Hurts that only do like 5 or 6 damage, for example. One more hit to go. Command, 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 command. And that's how we beat Dragon Lord in under Dragon Warrior rather, in under 40 minutes.
Is that time?
Not yet.
Oh,
We still have to wing back and talk to the king.
I'm dumb. That's like 2 seconds like I had or something.
Throughout the series, the rules for timing are timing ends on last action, so I'll give you a quick 3-second countdown here. And 3, 2, 1, time.
So this is like 36-24. So
Awesome.
pretty good. Wow.
Thank you.
Probably take the average person weeks.
Yeah, so without manipulation, you have to grind up to level 18. You have to do a lot of grinding. It takes over 5 hours, no matter what you do, basically. This kind of revolutionized the run, and I was very happy I was able to do so much with it. It was about 1.5 years ago, there was a runner who, as far as I know, doesn't even run Dragon Warrior. He figured out a way to manipulate his way to 1 metal slime, and he said, "You guys do whatever you want with this." And so I did, and I realized anything was possible. So that's Dragon Warrior. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Wow, that was a curatoria. Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy.
This is my biggest contribution to speedrunning, so I'm very proud of this game and what I've accomplished with it.
Yeah, it must have taken a lot of research.
A long work in progress. The first run I did, it took 2.5 weeks working on manipulations, and
So is it just testing like every input over and over again? Just
Yep.
And just finally getting the root?
yep.
That's crazy. That's. I'm blown away.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Thanks.
The amount of planning.
And I was too busy paying attention to you, but we did get a $100 donation
Oh, nice.
in between. from
Well,
my
thank you
dad.
very much.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the $100 donation. You're the best. He's not. No, he's not.
Dad hype.
He's up. Dad hype.
And as I say, the Sharlock in the dark, that's by far the hardest part of the run, and the fact
Yeah,
that
that was nuts. Just like.
I've done that part perfect in every marathon makes me very happy. I'm very comfortable with it.
Consistency is really important.
Yeah.
And now from here on, it's just grinding until AGDQ, eh?
Yep. Pretty much every day. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and
Yeah.
blessing us with this stellar run.